just because I can't. I'm just like shaking with, I'm not anger, I'm just like just vibrating just because I'm anxious, I'm nervous, whatever you want to call it. It's not good. Whatever it is, it's just not good. It's, I don't know what time it is. It's, well, 9:30. I want to get to bed by 10:30. I'm gonna walk to 7-Eleven. I wasn't gonna walk to 7-Eleven. I'm gonna walk to 7-Eleven and get a drink, and then walk back. But essentially, and I'm like just. The thing is, I don't need it. That's the problem. The need is not there. Hey everyone, hope you're having a fantastic day. This is Ketogenic Jim here. Just want to kind of talk about, addiction to sugar. Obviously, addiction is a overly aggressive word for things that you eat, things that aren't going to kill you in a short amount of time, but there really is no other way to kind of express that same type of reaction. It is an addiction, same as if you were, addicted to video games, addicted to, obviously a type of drugs and things like that. So it is, addiction to food, addiction to sugar. It's all in that same realm. I'm going to read a couple things and kind of get into my best explanation. Okay, Nicola Davis of The Guardian, a newspaper in the United Kingdom, she writes, in a narrative review published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, the authors write that sugar could act as a gateway to alcohol and other addictive substances, adding that like sugar, cocaine and opium is refined from plants to yield pure white crystals, a process they say significantly adds to its addictive properties. The studies by research scientist James D. Nicolantonio, cardiologist James H. O'Keefe, and William Wilson, a family physician. Now, the summary of their study is sugar affects you in a similar way as cocaine, altering mood through its reward and pleasure system, and it leads to the seeking out of sugar, just like leading to the seeking out of any type of highly addictive dopamine reactive drugs. And from this we can curtail kind of the outline that the study is trying to get at. And I'm going to read a quote from Gary Taub's book, The Case Against Sugar. There's something about the experience of consuming sugar and sweets, particularly during childhood, that readily invokes the comparison to a drug. The reason for this is if you grow up having sugary sweets and donuts, cookies, cakes, pancakes, a lot of different sweet things, essentially your whole life, for the first 5 to 10 years of your life, you're going to create a very, very reliant relationship with that substance. So your mental state and your physiological state is going to be very heavily affected when you remove that from your diet. I've spoke about this before. The word diet is from the Greek word dieto. I am probably butchering the pronunciation of that word, but it just means way of living or daily work. It is the method that you go throughout the day, right? So your diet in the modern term would be just the way that you eat, the way of eating, okay? The pattern of food that you have, okay? A ketogenic diet is going to be low carbohydrate, moderate protein, high fat, right? Obviously, a vegan diet is going to be zero animal products, very high carbohydrates, because that is where they are getting their fuel from. Now, I've fallen off the wagon before. I know exactly how those feelings of that reactive desire for sugar and that painful feelings that you get, and that's really the signs of fat adaptation. You're going to, break into the ketogenic diet, and then about 3 or 4 days later, that's when those cravings are going to start. And that's when you're in that withdrawal state. You're in that painful kind of like, why am I missing this? Your body is going through a state that says, well, this is the harder route for me. I don't want to take the hard route. I don't want to take the more, aggressive uphill path when I could take the similar but easier path. And this type of withdrawal is very, very similar to if you were on pain medication withdrawals. I've had multiple different cousins, relatives that have had many different types and levels of addiction. My father specifically was addicted to pain medication for a long time, and then I've had other relatives who have passed away from overdoses, and other relatives that thankfully were arrested and have been taken out of that life, is the best explanation. And for me, I hated that, the attraction to it, but getting into the ketogenic diet and getting accountable for my weight and for my, mental state, I realized that if I were to have, that little cheat cookie, that little cheat sandwich, the next couple days later, I would be breaking down, and I would, I can remember one episode that I had a sandwich, and then 2 days later, I sat down at my desk, I had 4 packs of Chips Ahoy cookies and 2 Little Caesars pizzas, and I did not get up until they were all gone, which took me about an hour. And that was a point where I was able to look at the remains of the, food that I had just eaten, and obviously I felt terrible. You eat that much food, you're going to feel terrible almost no matter what weight or position you are in life, if you eat all that by yourself. I looked at the remains of that, and that was when I didn't eat anything like that for a very, very long time. And I can probably say it's been about a year and a half, 2 years, since I have, fallen off the wagon, so to speak, which for me nowadays is roughly around 70 to 80 carbohydrates. That's my falling off the wagon, and thankfully it hasn't been ultra-refined carbohydrates. And that's the thing, you're going to have, different types of carbohydrates are going to affect you differently. For me, it was cookies, it was refined sugars, and it was like that really, really cheap, trashy garbage, 50 cents for a big pack of cookies type sugars that really was a attraction to me. And you're gonna realize once you're in through, especially my diet program, that you're gonna find out that those type of sugars have a very much different effect compared to, say, whole foods or broccoli carbohydrates or spinach carbohydrates, even any type of root vegetable carbohydrates. They are beyond, they're on a different planet in the relation of health and how it reacts to your body. And that's a major problem that's kind of been brought up through the American foods, and then like I'm in England right now, like you can go levels of American food, which is extremely high sugar. Let's just use bread as an example. American bread is insanely sweet. You don't realize it until you make your own bread, or you go to, let's say, Europe and have their bread, then come back. It's almost like it's been dusted in sugar. That's what my wife exactly said the first time she had basic American bread. In England, the bread is less sugary, but still there are a lot of refined carbohydrates. And then once you go into Europe, you have prepackaged bread, which have a lot of preservatives and a lot of refined carbohydrates, but not as much, once again, as England or the United States. But then in Europe you have the small bakeries, and for them, the only way that they're allowed to, like in France, the only way that you're allowed to have a bakery that's actually called a bakery is if all of your products are made from scratch, which is then going to obviously be much, much higher quality and much, much more on the organic and healthier side of, wheat and carbohydrates. But for me and for many people, probably with a weak mind or just, addictive personalities, any type of heavily refined carbohydrates is something you're going to want to stay away from, just because of this addictive personality, this addictive properties that is in almost everyone's brains nowadays, especially if you've grown up for years having high amounts of sugar. Once your body goes into a physiological change, and that sugar starts to be being stored into fat, you're going to have a major problem on your hands. That's when early onset type 2 diabetes starts happening, and that's when you're going to be sluggish, and you're going to gain weight around your stomach and around your thighs, depending on a male or female, and you're going to essentially go into a sedentary lifestyle. Even if you're exercising a massive amount, you're on track to be a very sedentary person, which is the whole it's the whole logical end to a high carbohydrate diet, especially refined carbohydrates. And that's why I teach a ketogenic diet, extremely low carbohydrates, and I can navigate you through all the pitfalls and all the issues that you may or may not have. And that's why I've kind of made it my mission in my career to improve people's lives and hold them accountable and coach them to navigate the path that can get you to be the best, most confident person you can be, whether you were at that position before or it's in you. I can get you there. If you feel that I can help you and coach you through to get you on track to lose tons of weight, get mentally better, get your life on track, and just be an overall better person, definitely get in touch with me, ketogenicgym@gmail.com. I really hope you enjoyed the videos. If you like my content, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about it, and just get in touch with me directly through any of my social media too. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I know I mix them up every time. They're all Ketogenic Gym, KETOGENICJIM. So it's pretty easy to, get kind of worked out. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day.